sin estatus, aquí estamos y no nos vamos. Estamos buscando un conteo justo para el 2020, ¿sí? ¡Sí!
Another controversial Trump administration policy had its day in the Supreme Court today, adding a citizenship question to the 2020 census. The issue at hand was whether Trump's Commerce Secretary, Wilbur Ross, had the right to add the question, and whether it matters that the question may lead to a massive undercounting of immigrants. Trump has the advantage of having two of his appointees, Justices Neil Gorsuch and Brett Kavanaugh, on the bench. And by the end of the 80-minute arguments, it seemed that they and the other conservatives were ready to side with the administration. The census takes place every 10 years, as required by the Constitution. The results are used to determine how many congressional seats and how many Electoral College votes each state gets. They also help determine how almost $900 billion in federal funding gets spent. The 2010 census asked 10 basic questions of every household in America. How many people lived there, how old they were, what their race, ethnicity, and gender were, that sort of thing. It didn't ask whether people were citizens or not. The government did ask a citizenship question in every census between 1890 and 1950. It was taken out by 1960. But last year, the Bureau announced it was bringing the question back. It claimed the Justice Department needed the citizenship data to properly enforce the Voting Rights Act. But civil rights groups thought Ross's real motive was to drive down immigrant participation. So they sued, and they actually won at the lower level courts. It turns out that nobody really disputes that the question will reduce the number of immigrants who respond. The Census Bureau itself estimates that there will be a 5% decrease in the number of initial responses. And the government is apparently fine with that. During today's argument, Solicitor General Noel Francisco argued that it's a, quote, trade-off between information and accuracy. And Kavanaugh and Chief Justice Roberts seemed to buy the government's argument about voting rights enforcement. So after the hearing, Vanita Gupta, former Deputy Assistant Attorney General under President Obama, was not hopeful that the court will strike down the citizenship question.
In this time, in the Trump era, where there is a level of heightened fear because of policies emanating out of the administration of reporting anything to the federal government related to immigration status, now the concerns about whether people are going to be so significantly undercounted among immigrant communities that the census itself won't be an accurate representation of who is in this country.
How do you predict the court will come down on this?
I think it's going to be a 5-4 decision. I think all eyes are on Justice Roberts. I think Justice Roberts and Justice Kavanaugh today were the only two justices that asked questions on both sides. There will be a census come 2020, and the question is, will it be accurate and reflect everyone in this country, or only a wider demographic, which will have long-term consequences politically and economically?
We are sure why this administration don't want to count us.